As humans, we have always wanted to understand how our world works. We make models with quantifying variables and box it into systems of science and maths. This means we can reasonably predict what might happen if any of these variables were to change. But not a lot of the world is so quantifiable or predictable. It's rather chaos or propagated by chaos. Take the weather for example. Just think of all the things that go into making the weather. But a perfect weather prediction would require highly accurate measurements of all the contributing variables over every square inch of the piece of the atmosphere. But there is always going to be a slight change or chaos that can make it impossible to accurately predict. When chaos gets induced in the system, it can radically transform and diverge from the present to introduce newer possibilities to an already existing system. This new set of possibilities is what I call a territory. This analogy applies beautifully to the desert, which I've taken up as my site. Let's say the desert is a territory, and every time there is a gush of wind, the sand dunes move to create newer dunes of different forms and shape. This means that with every gush of wind, there is a new possibility of a different form of dune shaping itself that is ever so slightly different from any dune ever formed before. Here, the wind is the chaos that is propagating the sand to form new dunes, that is, new possibilities. In spite of the desert as a whole remaining the same, the dunes keep creating new territories. Therefore, the core of my concept is that a territory is a set of possibilities in process of being realized. Since the desert as a whole is the portrayal of this concept, I propose a porous structure in the middle of the desert, a structure made by its own sand by introducing a bacteria Bacillus pastori to it, which will react with the sand particles and transform loose sand into sturdy sandstone. This makes the structure one with the desert it stands on. With every gush of wind, a wave of sand would settle on the structure. Parts of the structure get submerged in this process, only revealing the structure partially. This means that the appearance or the territorial existence of the structure is dictated by the ever-changing chaos of the winds, giving rise to multiple possibilities of the same structure. As the user walks from one part of the structure to another, a part of the built form that was previously visible and accessible could now have been submerged within the sand. There is a blurring of territories by the creation of a sense of illusion. Therefore, the structure is not bound by territory. It is rather one with the environment, creating its own possibilities of existence.